discussion. Ms. Vaughn, you pulled this? I'm going to let
Yes, I did pull it. I will not be supporting this $2.8 million one-year contract renewal because of one aspect of what is written on our board docs. Fresh Air Solutions will not be provided any projects pending the completion of a review. We had a rather lengthy discussion of this yesterday at the workshop, and I will quickly summarize my point of view and what I asked for on this. The first thing is I object to the language completion of a review. I find that too vague. In reality, it is the completion of an investigation. Now, Mr. Harrison himself, the lawyer, the attorney for Fresh Air Solutions, brought up details on that. What he said was that there is an investigation going on by the Department of Homeland Security, and he cited one particular invoice from the past. Now, I don't know anything about that investigation. I'm not privy to those details. It may be just that one thing, and it may turn out just fine in a very short time for Fresh Air Solutions, or there may be more things, or it may go on. But what I asked for yesterday, which is why I cannot support this, is that I wanted the vague language taken from this description on board docs. I wanted to see something official, a letter or an official document signed that said, instead of review, because our initial information from our board attorney was that is under review by our legal department. No, that's not good enough for me. If we have a vendor who is currently under investigation by the Department of Homeland Security, a federal agency, as I said yesterday, this isn't some rinky-dink thing that some PI decided, oh, we're going to, no, this is Department of Homeland Security. I want it documented and signed from this school district that this vendor will not be provided any projects pending the completion and the, I'm not sure what the legal word be, maybe exoneration, or I'm not sure what word, they're successful for Fresh Air Solutions, successful ending of the investigation. And then they will move on as part of this contract. I am very uncomfortable with this vague language. I don't think it has any real teeth to it. I know that this particular vendor has a history and has connections, and I want to see legal teeth from our school district that there will be no exceptions made because of possible historical connections or connections to other people that are associated with our school district. This is why I will not be supporting this. That's all I have to say on it.
Any more comments? Ms. Gittens?
Well, now that she brought out that sentence, it is confusing to me that it says will not be provided any projects pending the completion of review, but then the next sentence says the estimated not to exceed expenditure pursuant to the same terms and conditions. It's a little confusing to me. Are we not giving them projects, or are we giving them projects up to 2.8? Is that something, Attorney, through the chair, Attorney Bruno, can we ask that? Or is that something that is, because it's pending, we cannot?
So this specifically says that that particular vendor will not receive any projects pending the review. And that's exactly what it means. I do not want to go into any additional details, given the nature and the circumstances of what we are looking at. And I would caution board members to be very careful, too, with your statements, because we do need to be careful. We do not know what the outcome of any of this will be, so we must be and choose our words very carefully from the dais.
So is this saying then, the last sentence, the estimated not to exceed expenditure, blah, 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 is in reference to whom? The above
The other
state-
vendors. That's relating to the other vendors.
Which are Captain Steamer and who else?
It's,
Just one other one?
no, it's, let me find the names up here.
So indoor air is separate from fresh air. So indoor air is still in, microbial remediation.
No, that's the service.
Then
Oh, that's
Captain
what they
Steamer-
do.
Yeah, they're
And
the-
Captain Steamer. So
Yes.
is that just the two?
Yes, there'll be two that's left.
So
as I
there's
understand.
three, and of the three, only two are referred to in that last sentence.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other comments? Ms. Giovanelli?
Yes, so I'm going to agree with Ms. Vaughn and Ms. Gittens. The verbiage is too vague at this point in time. I also, speaking with the director of maintenance yesterday, he recommended a rebid. So at this time, I won't support this, and we'll wait for the resolution of the investigation. Thank you.
Ms. Patricca?
If I may direct a question to Dr. Savage through the chair.
Yes, please.
Dr. Savage, have there been any issues with quality, responsiveness, quality of work performed on our campuses, et cetera, for any of these vendors?
I've received no issues of concern from the maintenance department, who supervises the work that is done by the vendors.
Okay, thank you. And the rest of my comments, I think, are directed at my colleagues, and please forgive me in advance if I say things that are off-putting to you. I've tried really hard, Ms. Fisher in particular, to take the Chris out of what I'm about to say, because I know it's not what you say, it's how you say it, so I'm trying really hard to temper my comments here. But I do find myself a little bit sad here as we discuss this issue. I felt like we as a governance team were beyond this kind of behavior, where we were raising issues based on rumor and innuendo. This was a practice of some members of the board in the past. Loose allegations have been made based on previous investigations that resulted in findings of no wrongdoing. Just to refresh the board's recollection, this is about the T. Francel letter from 2019. And while some members of the board and some members of the public don't like the findings of that investigation, there is no proof that that investigation was conducted improperly. Further, we do have a specific outside agitator that we're all aware of that's behind really all of this. And that agitator has a documented history of filing complaints which are found to be baseless, and then refiling the same complaints with other agencies ad nauseum, each to be determined as baseless. I do have significant concerns about statements made at the table yesterday and in email communications to the board and the board attorney regarding the vendor in question. Defamatory statements made by members of the public are on them, but statements made by us at this table and in public records, in my opinion, make the board and the district vulnerable to claims of defamation. Allegations of unfair favoritism have been made against the district in favor of a specific vendor, yet the data provided by the district does not support that allegation. We received information yesterday that Captain Steamer Carpet Cleaner has been awarded $319,604 in projects. Fresh Air Solutions has been awarded $337,844,000 in projects. And AMR Corp has been awarded $558,792 in projects. I see no evidence on the face of those numbers of any kind of favoritism or treatment in favor of one vendor over another. The point, in my opinion, the point of the procurement process is really to insulate us at the board table and staff from favoritism. It's to eliminate favoritism in support of all vendors and to eliminate unfair bias against all vendors that seek to do business with the district. No employee or board member can have a favorite and expect that vendor to be awarded a bid based on that favoritism. Likewise, no employee or board member can have a personal bias against a vendor and expect that vendor to be denied a bid or a contract based on that bias. Yet that's what I feel is being attempted here by some members. Not liking a vendor and stating generalized and unproven allegations against a vendor is not a reason to deny a bid. In terms of email communications regarding Attorney Dupree Bruno's involvement in this matter, I take exception to the allegation that the school board attorney has acted unethically. While I don't always agree with Attorney Dupree Bruno, I have never, ever questioned her ethics. And I will say that this board has put her in some difficult ethical conundrums on several occasions. I believe her ethics and ethical conduct are beyond reproach. In an email to the board, a member indicated that the current review of the vendor in question involves unproven allegations of crimes. I'm not clear on the accuracy of this allegation since the board has received absolutely no information regarding this review by an outside agency. Please refer back to my previous comments regarding the board's and the district's potential liability for defamation. Unfounded accusations of criminal behavior can be considered negligence per se. And, you know, I wonder, do we trust staff? You know, it is in writing as part of the motion and part of the agenda item that this company, quote, will not be provided any projects pending completion of the review. If staff does, in fact, award a project, I would think, and I have confirmed this, that would rise to the level of insubordination that would result in said staff's termination. I don't believe staff will do that. I don't think staff is in the habit of acting against the superintendent's directives, and certainly not against the board's directives. And as indicated both here tonight and in an email to the board yesterday, Mr. Ross did not say 3 times that he wants to put this contract out to bid. Unless I heard him incorrectly, what I heard Mr. Ross say was that he'd like to look at the scope of work for HVAC maintenance and indoor air quality to determine which is better suited for the cleaning of HVAC coils. Those are really my comments about this issue, but I will say that while tonight's discussion is a little bit of a disappointment for me as a member of the team, I do believe we've moved so far ahead that this small hiccup really will not keep us from continuing to move ahead as a team. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Vaughn?
Apparently, Mrs. Patricca didn't listen carefully to what I had to say, if she's referring to me. What I said was that this firm, Fresh Air Solutions, is by virtue of not just an email that we received, but by what Attorney Harrison said just an hour or so ago in public comment, that the firm was under investigation by Department of Homeland Security. And it doesn't matter, has there been, the rhetorical question, has there been a decision handed down from Homeland Security? No. Am I asking that Fresh Air Solution never gets to have projects? No. What I said was that, in my opinion, and I get to have an opinion as I am a member of this board equally with other people, what I said was I feel that the wording is too vague. I specifically looked at the word review. When asked about that yesterday, our board attorney said that review meant that the legal department was reviewing it. Well, I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. I want it, as is my prerogative as a board member, I want it specific language. I want it language referencing the fact that Fresh Air Solutions is under investigation. That's it. I never yesterday brought up Homeland Security or anything. I made a reference to the fact that it was a rather large organization. That was it. I take offense from my board colleague, Mrs. Patricca, that she would indicate that perhaps I am under the thumb of a person in the community. I have a mind of my own. I have ethics. My ethics, by the way, when I was running for school board, never had me taking large campaign donations from vendors and then speaking up in glowing terms, like you're in an oratorical contest. I've never done that. And yeah, I realize that unfortunately in Florida, the Ethics Commission doesn't take offense to people who are accepting big campaign contributions from vendors. I know there is one member on this board that ran at the same time as Mrs. Patricca, received a large donation from a vendor and returned it. That's ethical. So I return to what I said before. The reason I am opposing this is the language, is the idea of review. You know, whether the staff violates this or not, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about us as a board putting something so vague out there. I, again, would like to see this, the word review, get rid of it. Investigation, you don't have to be specific. It needs to be that this vendor, and I would say this for any vendor that is under investigation should not be awarded contracts by this school district. If you have other ethics than that, that's your business. I have those ethics, and I stick by what I said. I will not support this.
Ms. Giovanelli.
So since we're given history lessons, let's really talk about what happened. This particular vendor was on the Florida Auditor Report because of the claims that were out of the scope of their contract. That is clear. I spoke to the Florida auditor myself, and that's exactly what he told me. He told me they would not clear them. That is not their job. This was what was wrong with it. He asked for the district to ask for a refund of over, I think it was like $269,000, which to date has not been done. The district did not ask for that refund because I asked for that information. So that is where this started regarding the initial Florida auditor's report. And that's because and I'm going to say it again, That's because the invoices were voluminous and not within the scope of the contract. I swore then, and I've continued to not support this contract based on what the Florida auditor said. And that's where I stand tonight. So that's the history lesson. That's really where it started. It got pulled regarding that. Back then, I had asked for copies of the invoices, which I was denied, which by law and statute I'm allowed to have. But I was denied them back then. But when the rebuttal went to DOE, who questioned the invoices, that's when I was able to see the invoices and received many of them, which were a lot of money. We are still outstanding $33 million in FEMA money. So that we may see maybe in 20 years, I'm told, or may never. So that's the history lesson. That's the reason why I will not support this at this time. And the rebid and give opportunity to have separate contracts for remediation versus testing. That was the information I was given back then when I contacted other districts and how they do it. And their costs on those were not nearly what ours in the contract is. So that was questionable for me too. So that's the history. And for the record, I never have went around campaigning with a vendor, unlike some board members at this table did. So while we're talking about how this board is going to get past things and beyond things, let's remember what we did. Thank you.
We're way past February 26th now, and we're still discussing this. And if I may just say, I'm extremely disappointed that we get personalities and old problems into our discussions, which are supposed to be focused on business.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Vaughn, please.
Just to clarify, I believe I heard Mrs. DePree-Bruno say that at board direction, she would send that letter. And this is another reason why I'm still not, I'm not stupid. I do understand what's going on with this. And maybe it is my personality, but my personality happens to be an ethical one and one who's going to stand up for what is right and what I believe in. And I thought it was a very simple fix, but we could pass this, and then if the board doesn't give our board attorney direction to send that letter, I'm at this point, because of the personal attacks that were started, not by me, but by a board colleague, I'm not going to vote for this. Apparently, certain vendors get what they have money well spent.
Mr.